What's it like being married to a Jamaican? Hi, I'm Xavier Murphy, founder of Jamaicans.com. And today I talk to Riccardo and Julian Rosa. Riccardo is Italian. Julian is Jamaican. They live in Italy, which is great. And we're going to talk about their marriage journey. Hi, guys. How are you?
Hi,
Hi,
Xavier. Thanks for having us on your show.
ciao.
So tell us about your backgrounds.
Okay, so I'm originally from Kingston, Jamaica, and Ricardo is from Rome, and we met in Florida 22 years ago, a long time ago. When we, as you see from the pictures, the changes. I grew up in Jamaica, and then I left for graduate school when I was about 30 and moved to the States, yeah, in 1998 and went to graduate school at University of Florida. And it so happened you also came to
Yeah, I
Florida.
moved to. I grew up in Rome, and then when it was 2000, I moved to Florida, to America, and we met at grad school.
Yeah, so I was there 2 years before he arrived, and that's where we met.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so we met, we started to be friends, and then slowly we started to date,
You're
and then
jumping the story.
sorry.
We'll get to the love story. We'll get into the love story, but Julia, I know you and I kind of have crossed paths a bit. You had authored one book. I know you're working on a second book. Real quick, tell us what that second book is about and when to expect it.
All right. So in 2015, we had lived in the States for about 16 years, and we decided to just take 1 month off because neither of us had ever really lived in each other's country. So we took a month off, and you know how much hard that is in the States, and came to Italy and stayed here for a month. And it made me realize how much I had started to lose my culture living in the States. And so this book is about just living with our friends for a month, cooking, eating, about friendship, and then beginning to realize how much Italy reminded me of Jamaica and its similarities. So this year I am trying to finish and it will come out this year.
Awesome, awesome. So now we get to the love story. Um, tell us your love story, how you met. And I think it kind of went into that, but tell us the day, how you kind of met, look across, and then the first date, and also kind of what drew you to each other.
Well, it,
Okay.
it wasn't it wasn't at first because I was already there before and I'm a few years older. And so and so we were just friends, but I had a lot of international friends, and most of them were like from Europe and South America, and we used to get together and cook, right? So we love to cook a lot. And then Ricardo came to the class one day, and I will always tell him that I found it really funny. So he was really young, and he came to class. He was like really brown, typical Italian in these short shorts. And I'm like, where is this guy going with these short shorts? Because we in Jamaica we're very like more conservative. But because we are actually aquaculture scientists, we work a lot. You are a marine scientist. That's where he's got his background.
Yeah, and I started as marine biology, and then when we were at grad school, we were studying aquaculture. So we started, I following some class together,
Yeah.
and slowly then starting to decide to. So it started
But,
like this. We
but
were.
it had to be a
Mhm.
spark. I mean, your friends. What was that moment that line kind of blurred? Was it like a touch of the hand? Was it a look? Was it
No,
No, it was my food.
when he
It was
came to
my
cook,
food. I won't have it through the Italian food.
he came. So that was a point that we used to get together to cook all the time, and I thought Ricardo was kind of young, so it wasn't that sense. But I invited him over to come and be with the rest of the other friends because he didn't know anybody. So I said, "Come on over." And then he started cooking. And then one day he came to my apartment. And then he cooked for me. So I was like, this.
Good food, a good chef.
And then we were cooking together all the time. So that kind of really was. And then what happened was a lot of our friends graduated and left. And so we kind of like drew to each other. And we found that we had a lot in common because we weren't doing the same classes together, and we kept each other company and
Share a lot of
shared.
similar
Yeah,
things we like to
right,
do.
right.
So it started as a friendship, and then slowly became like we start to date.
Because I mean, although we have a lot of similarities, there are also a lot of differences. So, like I didn't know any Italians before. So it was like, just
Like me,
getting
I
to
didn't know. Yeah,
know any Jamaicans either.
And there was also a lot to learn about food and how we eat differently. We prepare, so there were a lot of funny story about that.
Right.
Well, we're gonna jump into some of that. I'm still waiting on, that time because my wife and I were good friends, and so I remember that when we crossed the line. I'm still waiting on you to say this is the time, that first.
Maybe it was at the party of Marta when we started to dance
Oh
together.
yeah, we went to a African student what is it, like an African
Student
club
association. And we have this professor that she was from Colombia.
Yeah,
She was always organizing a party at her house.
And so we were dancing together, and
maybe it was started from there.
But I think it's just because we were comfortable that it just became automatic that way. And then he decided to take me he said, "All right, we're going to go to Italy." And so
after we were dating,
just we actually dated just like 6 months. We didn't date very long. And then we said,
she know that I was a good catch.
We were going to go to
good food and good catch.
Yes.
So, but what more?
I didn't need to wait. I would think I was like 35. So I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is it.
Let me ask you this. Did your friends around you see that something was coming?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. One of my friends, we were at another party, and I think, by the time you're 35, you're like, oh my God, everybody's married. I will never get married. And he pointed out to Riccardo and said, I don't understand. What about him? He's good looking. He is definitely the catch. So this friend actually pointed him out to me and said, that's the one.
Oh, really? Did his friend become the best man or the bridesmaid?
Because we had to get rid of all men after that.
All right. So tell me, how did the cultural differences play a role, you believe, in your relationship?
It was a lot to learn, but it was very gradual because over time we kind of grew to understand the differences because we had no preconception about each other's culture before. And Riccardo will remind me, one day I was sitting down and watching Everybody Loves Raymond, and I had to call him up and said, Riccardo, have you seen the show? Raymond's mother is just like your mother. I was like, she's just like your mother. So it was really worth watching TV, and then like the stereotypes of Italian families and what happens, the interactions. I started to learn, and then I actually had to tell him because he was like, I didn't realize that. So we just kind of learned over time the differences in the culture and even today, having moved back, because we lived in the States 22 years. And when we came back 4.5 years ago, there are things that Riccardo is just realizing now that he took for granted. The culture, that he never thought about. So all, little stereotypical things he never realized before. So now having moved back, he's like, "Oh, you've been telling me I'm like this all these years." I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, so it's interesting because at the beginning we didn't see a difference between us. Is with the time we start to realize, there are some cultural difference. But I think the nice thing is we look at the differences in positive ways. It's something that we can learn more and help us improve more. And the other things, at least from my part, it was interesting because I start to see the Italian culture from an aside view, and so from aside the point of view, and I start to realize a lot of habits that we have, a lot of things that we do that I was doing and I never noticed, even like some attitude we have to like face some problem or especially face new things. Because Italians are, we have a century of history and is a bit in our culture. So
You
a
don't
lot,
change.
exactly, a lot of
Italians never
Italian have a
change.
difficulty to change, and I never realized that. So it was interesting to realize that through the eye of Julia, like she was saying, like with the everybody loves Rayman, and it's not a show that we have in Italy. Really, it's not popular. Or when we were in America and I start to watch, and after a comment, and I was starting to realize, oh, that's true. The drama that we have, it's very dramatic. We are, Italy.
Opera was invented in Italy.
Opera, we have, so we are extremely dramatic, and it's been funny also. Maybe we go through some story with us, about, especially at the beginning about the drama to understand, for her to understand our drama.
Yeah, it's true because as Jamaicans, I think we're a little bit more British in the sense that we don't like to have too much drama. We're very like calm. Italians are the complete opposite. So at first, like, when he was talking to his friends or any kind of interaction, I was like, are they quarreling? Are they like just he's like, no, this is just how we talk, like they're very like all over the place and I'm just like, am I stepping into something? He's like, no, we're just talking.
Yeah, we were like talking very passionately,
Passionate.
but it wasn't against each other. It was something, another story, not about other people, but from Harry looks like we were fighting. Just we are very loud.
Very loud.
So that it seems every time we speak that we are arguing. That is like, for example, it was something that we had to get used, because even when I talk at home, sometimes I was like loud because I'm like this, and she was thinking that I was upset. Instead, it was like.
So let me ask you this. You kind of gave me a funny moment on the Italian side. On the Jamaican side, is there something that she did that you could say it was, it was culturally different, but it was a funny moment for you, Riccardo?
The food.
Yeah, no. It was funny, yeah, because when we got married, it was she just graduated from university, and she started to live in New Jersey, and I was living still in Florida. So we were meeting like every once a month, and we were coming down. So what I will do is like a classical Italian. I will go with a big bunch of flowers to pay at the airport when she was arriving. and she's kicking me now. And it was funny because for me it was normal. So I will arrive with this bunch of flowers in front of everybody, and I will see her looking at me. And then she say, "Leave them in the car. You can give me them later." When
You didn't want the flowers, the big bunch of flowers.
No, I wanted the flowers, but that attention that like everybody turning around and staring. I don't know how Americans do this. Like on TV, you see they're always making the announcement or the engagement in front of an audience. I didn't grow up like that. It's like don't bring attention to yourself, sort of. So when he's running towards me with this big bunch of flowers, and I see everybody turn around and stare at me. At first, I'm like, oh my god, they're
But
staring.
I was like, how romantic.
But now I embrace it. Yeah, now I embrace these are the things that he's saying that, like, what I love and how it has changed me is that Italians are very loving, right? They're very loving. They show emotion easily without any, affectation. They're very caring, and it was something that I didn't grow up with. So, it's a very lovely thing that I embrace now. Like, for example, when I first came to Italy, maybe it's different in Jamaica now, but the way that I grew up is that you shook hands with people that you met. Here, it's not just one kiss, it's three kiss. So you get a kiss here, and another kiss here again. So and Ricardo is very popular. So all of his friends that he would introduce me to, they're like embracing me, and I'm getting all these kisses. And at first, and again, this is 20 years ago. It's like we have grown together. So now
It's
I'm
natural.
more
Natural for you
Italian.
now.
It's natural
Yes,
now.
navigable.
But at the time, I was like, Lord Ricardo, them can kiss you, man. Every minute I getting kiss. There's too much kiss.
Uh, we're going to move on. We're going to move on to food because you just kind of touched on that a little bit. And Ricardo, what was your reaction to Jamaican food, and what's your favorite dish?
Oh yes, I tell you, yeah, I had the fortune that after no shortly after we got married, we came to Jamaica and we stayed to one of the local Jamaican hotel that had the all the Jamaican food, and I loved the food. It was like the ackee with saltfish, liver with onions, what was it, mackerel rundown,
Mackerel
and down.
rundown.
So
Yeah.
Julie was making fun of me because every morning they offer the classical, continental breakfast. I will just go and take all the Jamaican food, and I will go back at lunch, try all the other dish and dinner. And she was making fun of me because now and also what I was doing, even if we have espresso, I was taking the Jamaican way of taking coffee with
With the
the condensed
condensed
milk.
milk.
So all the waiters knew me, and they will bring me all the Jamaican food. And she was saying, "How they spoil you?"
It's true. It's true. Because what happened was we came down there to work, right? So we were working with NGO and American NGO. So at the American office, all the Americans were like, "We're not eating that food." So, but Ricardo would wake up first thing in the morning, head down to what I'm like enjoying, myself in the morning. He's heading down to breakfast. And then I was like, every morning, Ricardo is just getting up and going let me go and see what is happening. And I came there one morning observing the waitress is just like, "Sir, you want some more coffee, sir? Can I bring you this?" So by the fourth morning, they had known him so much that they were just bringing him the
Jamaican
food.
food.
Like, because they appreciated that he loved their food, and especially things like liver and
Which
onions
I
were a lot of foreigners to.
love liver.
Yes. So he
Yeah,
loved it.
and the ironic things there are some dish that are similar, like liver we do in Italy too, oxtail we do too, we call ossobuco, but I never liked the liver how they do in Italy. I really enjoy the liver how they did in Jamaica. And then every time we were going around, I was trying to taste all different dish that they had. Like when we went to the jerk chicken at
Yeah.
Devil House. So
Devon House.
Devon's house.
Devon
Yeah,
House.
and all the patty. I tried all the different patty, curry goat,
Oh
curry
man,
cock.
he's
So it was
adventurous.
a really,
You're adventurous,
Well,
yeah.
Ricardo.
I
I
call
love.
I call him my original foodie in the book because I talk about his love of food. And in Italy, every conversation at dinner is about food. So they take their eating and their food very, very
So
seriously.
Ricardo, what's the favorite? Tell me the one dish that you absolutely love.
Aki and
Okay.
saltfish.
All right.
I love it. I love it.
So
And
no, go ahead. Go
good.
ahead.
And I like the two. Her mother was making the frito with the fish, the spicy one. I love that too. Those one too.
So Julian, no, your experience with Italian food and what is one of your favorites?
Well, I mean, it honestly, Italian food became one of the things that I found easier to prepare at home. So I didn't prepare a lot of Jamaican food because I found it took a lot of time to prepare when you're busy. So Italian food became the thing that I cooked a lot, and then he taught me when I started like looking my recipes, and Ricardo would like, "That's not how you prepare it." So he actually started helping me where before how to prepare all the different dishes. Now that we live here in Monti della Tolfa, we are very fortunate because it's the countryside, and all the ingredients that we get are like very fresh. So meat, cheese, the vegetables, it's so fresh that they
And
don't.
are local. So even
Right.
for example, here there is they still raise the cow on the countryside, not in the
The forage,
stable,
yeah.
and they forage. So they just take them like a couple of weeks before butcher them. So the taste of the meat, you
Fresh.
feel the difference.
Yeah, it's like the ingredients. So for me, it's like, okay, it doesn't have the same Jamaican, where we add a lot of spices and seasoning. I've really grown to appreciate that it's about the ingredients. So you can take three ingredients and make a really lovely dish. So yesterday we went to one of our favorite trattorias, and they made this ravioli that had ricotta
Ricotta, yeah,
ricotta cheese and
spinaci.
spinach and walnuts inside, and on top was a ragu that is like the meat that's cooked for almost an hour in uh tomato
Yeah,
sauce.
so
I mean, it when I bit into that thing, it's like, oh my god. When you just take your time and you're like, oh my god, this is so, oh my. And even like the house, what they call the house wine, which is wine that they make
luckily,
locally. I mean, it's like Italian food. You can't. No, it's you cannot eat in Rome where the tourists are. You cannot do that. You have to eat where the Italians eat, and you cannot miss it. The food is amazing.
Nice.
So we do. I appreciate that we do come from the best cuisines in the world.
What is your favorite Italian dish?
So I think that one, I really love the ravioli that they make. That's especially has like sometimes they make it with pumpkin ravioli. That is one of my favorites, especially at this restaurant that we go to all the time. They're our friends, so
yeah. Rischio is a very
Rischio,
nice
yeah.
restaurant, local
Well,
restaurant.
Ricardo, we hear you're popular, so hey, you're the person to hang with to get into all these restaurants.
Yes.
So, so I'm switching up a little bit. Is there a Jamaican phrase or term, Ricardo, that you find yourself saying, maybe even to have fun with Juliana? And I'm gonna come to you with that question also, Julianne.
A phrase. You know any phrases?
No, not so many phrases, unfortunately.
What one thing he didn't learn was the patois. My
Pardon.
son speaks the patois, but Ricardo never learned the patois.
Because she doesn't speak with me in Padua, more to my son.
I
So
think I do, but you don't really
yeah.
understand
Okay,
it.
No,
all right. All right. One on your side though, is there something Italian that you're finding that you use a lot? Maybe some Italian slang.
I don't want to say it on
All right,
the
we will pass that
No,
one.
but it's
because I hear it all the
what
time.
beside the bad word.
Like if the bump the foot or if like something happened or
Beside the bad word, what?
I don't even know how bad it is. You know, and you don't understand the bad word, but he tells me that it's a bad
Okay,
word.
all right. We leave the bad word alone. We leave that one alone. So
Yes.
But you know, like when people are annoyed, you hear it all the time. So that is the one I hear all the time.
so I'm gonna switch back up to the visit. Obviously, you have visited Italy, Julian. Obviously, Riccardo, you have visited Jamaica. Was there, Julian, an experience that you wanted Ricardo to have in Jamaica that he did have or he didn't have, or you got to wait till the next time around or whatever? But you might be thinking, I want him to see this or I want this.
Yeah, I think I wanted him to live in Jamaica for a while, which we never did. That was one of our my dream was that each of us could live in Jamaica. 'Cause, like I said, most of our relationship was in America, and having not lived in the country, I didn't know a lot about his culture and he didn't know a lot about my culture, so he didn't have a reference point. You know, if I have some nuances, he didn't have a reference point to understand that's just being Jamaican and vice versa. So I wanted him to live there for like, a couple years to kind of get where I'm coming from, who I am as a person. Like Jamaican women, I think, are very strong women, very firm, and I don't think it's something that you probably never saw too much here.
All right.
so,
I learned.
so I wanted him to understand what Jamaican women are like versus maybe what Italian women are like.
Okay.
So that was a
So
thing,
maybe it
yeah.
will happen at some point. You take an extended visit to Jamaica and so on. At some point. So I'm going to switch the question on to the other side now. Again, obviously you're living there, but Ricardo, as Julian experienced everything you wanted her to experience in the Italian culture, there's something that you still say, I need to take her here to this village, to this something, or you think you have accomplished the goal.
No, is as I said, there are still some places I would like her to visit because one nice things about Italy that is very all the different location are very different, have a different culture, different food. So I would like to bring her to see really the Alps that are the mountain at the north of Italy that are very tall and they before they were always covered by snow. Now just in winter time. So we would like to bring her, especially in winter time, maybe try to ski and see
Maybe
the
not ski,
environment.
but to see it.
But see that that environment is very different. And then we are trying slowly to see different part of Italy, visit, and especially taste the food because it's
Hmm.
very different. That is too. So see the different from history point of view, the nature, but also the food,
Okay.
the
All
part.
right. How do the families embrace this blend of culture? For some, I know it shows up at you have your Christmas celebration or this celebration, and you may have a little bit of this, or how do you all do it? How as a family manage with the blend?
Pretty good. I mean, when we were in Florida also, we'd have more of that happening, and know that we're in Italy, but it's
Because your mother live in
because we
Florida.
live so far apart. We never really get everybody together, so it's always just individual. But yeah, when we met,
Yes,
it was
they
fine.
needed to clearly some people maybe had to learn a bit different culture,
Yeah.
mostly because especially people from a lot of people from Italy, they know they didn't travel so much. Luckily, my family has traveled a lot,
Okay.
so they saw also different culture, and but clearly it's different. Visit a country and then lived it.
Okay. All right. So, if there is a Jamaican skill that you could master, Ricardo, what would that Jamaican skill be?
What would it be?
A Jamaican.
I think we just talked about that today.
Which one do you mean?
To infuse not so much drama.
No, yes, yeah, exactly. Is another things I liked about marrying Julie and be together that I besides understand better my culture, I see from a different point of view. I also start to learn more a different culture, different way to do things. So one things I learned that also I still needed to work maybe on that. To be more take it easy. Like Bob Marley say,
They drink too much
pizza.
espresso.
So to take it a relaxed way.
Soon come, soon come.
Exactly. So that is something that I
All
needed
right,
to work
all
more.
right. Julian, what Italian skill would you love to master?
Their charm. They're so charming, like you said, and I really love that. I love what I've embraced a lot is they're so loving, and like I said, like they don't want anything back. It's like the helpful, the assistance, like especially when we came here during the pandemic, and everybody just jumped in to help us without, I mean, sometimes like in Jamaica you're like, okay, I need to pay somebody to do this, and at first I had to get used to it. I said, Ricardo, maybe we need to pay them something. It was actually like an offense, like if I offered to pay somebody that helped us. They're like, no. So that part I really embrace, that they're loving, um and just like I said, they embrace you, the kisses, you really do feel that.
Is
And that's something that I have tried to like now be like that, because I really love it.
because also we live like in a small town, like it's 4,000 inhabitants,
No less, like 3,000.
3,000,
Yeah.
and but I've been coming here from when I was a child, and every time we will come to visit Italy, we came here. So I stay in contact with all my friends from childhood, and they met Julie. So when they come, it's like be in a big community. That is the nice
Yeah.
thing.
Good.
So and it was funny. It was a bit funny because in reality, Julie and Alessandro, my son, moved here before me for a few months because I was still in America, and it was funny because every time I will call, I was under COVID, so I would stay close at home by myself, and was between work and home. I will call here to check how she was doing, and one of my friends just passed by and brought some eggs, some food. So she had, every time she had somebody, and I was like, "You have so much
A
fun."
community, a strong
That is also,
community. Wow.
yeah,
Yes.
and that was also the reason why we moved here compared like Rome, a big city, and why she was at the beginning alone, because I knew there was all the community of my friend around, and like for example, when we moved, there was the quarantine, and the morning after we arrived, we somebody knocked at our door and left some fruit, vegetable,
Yeah.
and I didn't know him, but he was a
Wow.
friend of one of my friends, and he just passed
Yeah.
by and left us. He just fruit and vegetable that he took from
And
his
they
garden.
were always checking. They were, like it reminded me a lot. I talk about this a lot. Like here reminds me a lot about like the Jamaica that I grew up in, the 70s and the 80s, and especially in the
Yes.
countryside. So I mean, like they're always checking on you to see that you're okay. They're always giving you some fruit or some something like, so it's that kind of,
Right.
so it reminded me a lot of Jamaica. It was like the closest thing to
Community, a
home.
real strong community.
Yeah.
Well, Ricardo,
Yeah.
Julian, thank you again for spending some time with us. We're not done. I have a little rapid fire game that we are going to play. And it's a pointing game. I'm going to ask some questions, and you're going to either point at yourself or each other in response to it.
You made me nervous.
So
Okay, that will be fun.
here goes. Who is the better cook?
You.
who,
Vabbè,
No,
who,
you
who,
cook.
is,
vabbè, she cook well. We cook
who is the
differently.
better dancer?
Me.
Me, no. When we no, I tell you, this is when we had the dance class. She was always stepping on my feet, and she was complaining. You know what the teacher said? That it was her fault because she didn't let me guide, because she had to guide, and so it was
All
like,
right. Who is the better driver?
oh, me.
For sure.
Italian drive, but it's an Italian drive. It's like a Jamaican drive.
Who is the most spontaneous to start an adventure?
Me.
Yeah.
Who is the most grumpier when you wake up in the morning?
Not
No,
before coffee. He still brings me coffee. So I'm like, bring the coffee, then we can talk.
Who takes longer to get dressed?
Me.
You didn't point at yourself.
No, that's a no. That's a definite.
Well, thank you guys for the quick rapid fire.
Thank you.
Tell me, what advice would you give to a couple who is navigating cultural differences in their relationship?
I think the important things is to enjoy the difference in the cultures, because the mistake somebody could do is you want that your spouse share exactly the way of living, thinking as you. But I think instead the richness is to have a different way to look at life, do stuff, and embrace these differences. So try to appreciate the good aspect that you can have in the other culture, and help you also to see your own culture from a different point of view, and also understand your weak spot in your, the bad things, maybe no, or the weakness in your culture, try to modify them.
Okay.
Or also to live in the country of each other.
Yes.
Because that really makes you understand, the nuances that you will never be able to understand if you have never lived there. So I think it's really important that you live in each other's country.
Or at least, visit for a long time. Like
Yeah.
we first time we were in Jamaica, we were like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So in this way you understand better also the person, where his way to do
That
stuff.
is some
Yeah.
great advice. And what was even interesting about, as I was going, we had this conversation, is initially when you all mentioned that you don't realize the differences until it's kind of, not the differences, but your culture does this until it's pointed out to you. Until the other person points out that is going to stay with me from this conversation, where you said you don't realize that I'm doing this until the person of a different culture says to you that you're doing it. And that's my takeaway. I don't know about the audience. That was my takeaway. Well, listen, here's how I end this. So again, you're in Italy. Julian, I want you to tell us how we say goodbye in Italy. And Riccardo, I need you to tell me how you say goodbye in Jamaica.
Okay, I will try.
Arrivederci. No?
Yes.
Arrivederci.
And
Arrivederci.
little more. And a little more.
Little
more.
Little more.
All right. So, arrivederci and little more, guys. Thanks again.
Ciao.
Ciao.